Take one.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Don Dunbar, owner of Eastern Maine Images Gallery.
So my name is Vittoria Chierici. I'm Italian. I'm from Bologna and I grew up in Milano.
My name is Laura Stanzyck and I am the owner of Phoenix Fine Wines in Eastport, Maine, the easternmost wine bar in the United States. I moved to Eastport in September of 2020.
And what were you doing prior to that?
I was living in New York City. I was a casting director for theater on Broadway, off Broadway, regionally, national tours, stuff like that. It's funny, people come in here and say, oh, you're famous. I am not famous. I work with a lot of people who are famous. I have a comedy opening on Broadway this month, The Cottage, at the Hayes Theater, that Jason Alexander is directing, and we have Eric McCormick and Laura Bell Bundy and Alex Moffat and Lily Cooper and Nihal Joshi and a young woman called Dana Steingold, who is hysterically funny. Well, I, for a long time, had just thought about changing my life and simplifying it and actually living in a place where I wanted to live. My career took place in New York because that's where the career was, not the environment in which I wanted to be. But Eastport, you know, is a very, very gorgeous place with wonderful, warm people. And every morning I wake up and I look at the ocean and I feel the breezes and I smell the trees, and I feel really lucky to be here.
When did you first come here?
You know, I first came here when I was pregnant with my son in 1999. Eastport was a really different city back then. Everything was boarded up. There were not active businesses. And then we came back, my son and I were vacationing down in Millbridge, and he's a big hiker, and we came back to hike Moosehorn. And one day he said, oh, Mom, it's a very short hike, 30 minutes. And we went into the refuge, and 3 hours later we came out, and I was grumpy and hungry and hot and really hungry. And we rolled into town, went to Rosie's, had the very best hot dog on the Eastern Seaboard, and that sealed the deal for me. I think that a lot of people have discovered what the locals have known for many, many years, that this is a really cool, welcoming, nurturing place to live. And it's 10 degrees cooler in the summer and 10 degrees warmer in the winter, which I think is going to become increasingly important. It already is. So I do think that Eastport's future is really bright. It's not a huge place, it's an island, so we can only grow so much, which I actually think is kind of a blessing. I don't think we want to become a huge summer resort. We don't want to be Algonquin. We don't want to be Bar Harbor. We just want to be there for the community. You know, we had a community church breakfast the other day that was so great. People of all ages, you know, just coming together, and it had nothing to do with whether or not you belonged to the church, whether or not you believed. It was just a group of people coming together so to sit at the same table. That doesn't happen in New York. It just doesn't. Yeah, well, I mean, the thing about Eastport, one of the reasons I moved here was it was so clear between the Tides Museum and the Eastport Arts Center that this was a community of artists. This was a community that drew creative people to the center. We have classical musicians, we have great jazz musicians. I mean, our Robert Sanchez's Shed High School Jazz Band just won second place in the nation. And for a community that has 800 year-round residents, that's something. This is a place where creative people, I think, are drawn to and thrive.
Hi, I'm Don Dunbar, owner of Eastern Maine Images Gallery. I grew up in Eastport, born and raised here. And I went to school at Shed Memorial High School.
How did you first get interested in photography?
I first got into photography. I did a lot of things outdoors. I was always, that would make a great picture, but I didn't really have an interest in taking that picture. When I got out of the service, I bought a camera outfit and started taking a lot of pictures then. Then I was working at a factory out in Eastport, and that closed down. Trying to decide what to do. My wife was like, "Do what you love." So with her support, I opened up a gallery. From there on, I went from one place to another, and finally to my gallery here on Water Street. I love doing what I do, and I'm thankful that my wife lets me do this. So in wildlife photography, a lot of times you have to set up in a blind or a hide, they call it, so you can be hidden. And this particular one, I was in my chair blind on a river, set up taking eagle pictures for hours. In the morning, I had a bunch of eagles. Suddenly everything flew away. I had a guy behind my blind asking if I was in there, if I was taking pictures. I replied that I was, but not anymore. And that'll happen various places. Most of the times I'm hidden pretty well.
Do you like living in Eastport? Do you like what you're doing? Do you like being in this place?
I love Eastport. I love what I'm doing. I grew up here. I was born and grew up here. I went away, for a while, came back, and there's just a reason that everybody comes here. A lot of people say they can't explain it, but it's a very special place.
I've been fascinated by the history, because the history in Eastport, it's really big. It belongs to the colony, belongs to the industrial period when they had the sardine factories. It belongs to the Native American history. So there are many, many subjects for me as a foreigner. So when I came, I really wanted to know about. There are people who come from abroad, I'm not saying foreigner like me, but come from other town because they found it marvelous. The landscape. And so you also find people that you don't expect to see here. People who are writers, who are painters, or whoever you think about, you don't expect to see here in Eastport. And the locals people I met, very nice, very kind. When I came here, I thought in a way this place was magic because it gave me a sort of, do you say serenity in English? I never been nervous here.
It's very welcoming, it's very peaceful.
And you're not just saying that?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I grew up here. It's a very special place.